right, welcome to Friday Careers in Sport, and it is an absolute pleasure, mate, because I've missed you. So I'm going to introduce you. This is a friend of mine. I think a story to tell about a career in sport and his journey through a career in sport is going to be really inspirational to our students. This is my friend Jimmy Johnstone. Jimmy, hello, mate. How you doing? Good to see you.
Great to see you, buddy.
So, Jim, obviously, I think a lot of the guys that are going to watch this aren't going to know who Jimmy Johnstone is. Obviously, I do. Can you perhaps just introduce yourself and listen, man? You can big yourself up and say who you are. So away you go, Jimmy Johnstone.
Okay, so so I'm Jimmy Johnstone. I own the Phoenix MMA, which is a chain of fight academies. I also own an association called Wolf, and we have 20 affiliate academies in that affiliation. I'm a professional BJJ fighter, a former professional MMA fighter. For several years, I was a semi-professional snooker player. I used to play football. I fought in full contact karate. I fought pro kickboxing. I fought pro Muay Thai. I fought pro MMA, and currently just fight Jiu-Jitsu on the world tour.
That is ace. So, Jim, so you got some belts, have you? I mean, apart from the leather belt holding up your jeans, what other belts have you got? What belts are you holding your Jiu-Jitsu and stuff?
I've got a lot of titles. Last year, I earned 22 international titles in 19 different countries, and I hold several. You know me, Carl. I'm not one to big myself up.
But the thing is, Jim, is that, do you know what, mate? Is that this is one of those occasions that I think is, if you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old in this present time, it's really easy to look at life and go, do you know what can I do? And I know obviously a lot of your backgrounds, but do you know what is fine is that it's easy to turn around to people and go, do you know what, you can do stuff, you can achieve, because all of these kids that I teach, all I ever want to do, and all of the staff in SCL, all we want to do, and the same as yourself, when you get a young man or young lady come into the gym and say, Jimmy, teach me, MMA, or Jimmy, teach me Jiu-Jitsu, you just want to see them progress and become better people. So you're allowed to do it, because you're allowed to say what you've achieved, mate, because it's good to be proud.
I'm a multiple-time European champion at black belt and brown belt. I'm a multiple-time British champion. Just in the last season, I'm New York Open champion, Singapore champion, Moscow state champion, Tel Aviv champion, Manila Open champion, all at black belt. Where else? There was 19 different countries that I won gold in last year out of 19 countries. So 19 gold medals out of 27 events. So so I earned quite a lot of titles in the last 12 months. But I had a lot before that. As I said, I've won the Europeans a few times for NAGA and some other organisations. But yeah. So
mate, thank you. Because that's the thing is, I know last year all my social media feed was busy showing, when you were winning stuff and your gold medals. So you should have bring like a decent safe there holding them all in. So your journey in sport, not the best start out, but you got to where you are. Can you tell me, how was your journey in sport? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I kind of followed a few paths really, because when I was quite young, I started in karate, and I wanted to be the next Chuck Norris, and I won a few tournaments. I won the London Open and the English Open and a few things like that, and I transitioned over to kickboxing, which I enjoyed immensely, but I felt like it was, as a style, it was quite limiting. I really wanted to find something that sort of resembled all aspects of self-defense and actually a real fight. And then when I watched the UFC, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an MMA fighter. At the time when I was finding this, I was playing semi-professional snooker. I was still playing football at the time, and which I loved. I loved those things. But once I'd found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I didn't want to do anything else but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And if you'd have asked me every 3 years preceding that, and asked me what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, you would have received a different answer every 3 years. So I just wasn't sure what I wanted, but for me, when I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's like I instantly fell in love, and I wanted to do it forever. And I'm fortunate that I'm in a sport that we have like age brackets, so you can be competitive for the rest of your life at the highest level possible. So it was it was an instant attraction for me to be able to find something that sort of replicated a real fight, real self-defense, in a controlled environment. It was perfect for me.
Absolutely perfect, mate. And that's, I guess, the best thing is that, again, is that, I'm in my 40s now. So, and that's the thing, isn't it? Is that very often you go through different career paths and you go, do you know what? I want to do this, or I want to do that. And as you say, you can ask somebody, the question 1 year, what do you want to do? And it changes, and it just moves around, changes all over the place. And that's the thing, I guess, is that takes your path. And the whole, semi-professional snooker to cage fight, MMA, black belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, that's mega, isn't it?
And every time whatever you want to do doesn't pan out, it can be devastating. But you just roll with it. You find something else that could work out, and you just keep driving. You just keep driving.
Mate, this is so we're doing some work. Because obviously, our values that we try and instill into the students, and I know you got the values you try and instill into like the gym. And one of those a big skill for students to have and people have is this resilience. And I guess that's it, isn't it? It's that whole resilience of going, do you know what, this didn't pan out. Now I'm going to just choose a different way to go. And it's easier to go, do you know what, it didn't pan out, sit down in the doldrums for a bit of time. But actually, it's that resilience to get back up. Like Rocky Balboa, innit? Just keep back up and keep fighting. But that's important. That is important.
Resilience is probably the most important of all character traits that you need to be successful in sport, because you are going to lose a lot. You're going to get knocked back a lot. A lot of people are going to tell you no, and if you just don't have resilience, then you may as well quit, because without resilience, you've got no chance of getting out of those doldrums when you're struggling. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe that what you're doing is truly what you want. You got to be prepared to make sacrifices for it. And you got to just maintain a level of hope that you can achieve what you're trying. So it's not, no one wants to waste their time. And self-belief is a really difficult thing, because no matter how we portray ourselves in the public or on social media, whatever it is, when we're at home, in the mirror, alone at night before we go to bed, we have to face ourselves and ask ourselves, am I an idiot? Can I achieve what I believe I can achieve? And you got to believe in yourself, and I've asked myself that question many, many times, and sometimes you get a different answer. But more than not, the answer is, I can achieve it, I can do it. And if you can believe it, you can truly believe it, it's possible.
100%, mate. I know that we were talking before we started, about stuff we're doing, because obviously, for me, I'm coming up to a milestone birthday, and like you said, like preparing for that milestone birthday. For me, I'm sat here going, okay, cool, the milestone birthday is going to be something different, but I've got to plan for it. And I guess that's it. It's always planning and pushing yourself and going, I can believe and I can do this, no matter that resilience that throws up at me. So, Jim, a lot of people that I talk to, they've got obviously their heroes in sport, and the people that have taken them through, and like the big football was. But for yourself, is there a hero in sport that you look up to and go, do you know what, that's a proper hero for me, or somebody's like molded you a little bit?
As I said, I've done a few sports, so like my heroes, I've got a lot of heroes like that from a different sport that's still a hero, and usually my heroes are heroes because of work ethic, because their work ethic is so strong. I've always enjoyed watching sportsmen who are naturally gifted. You could go on forever, like Georgie Best and Gazza and those guys, and Ronnie O'Sullivan in snooker. But I've always liked the guy who is often disliked by the crowd, but I always respect his work ethic. And like for me, when I was playing snooker, and I played snooker very seriously for many years, with Steve Davis, and he was like not everyone's favorite, but he was always my favorite, because he was always prepared to go that extra mile to do what it took to win. And whilst other players were partying and living that sort of lifestyle, he was really disciplined and really focused, and I really admired that about him. In football, when I played football, I always admired Roy Keane pretty much for the same reason. He was
My
just so
boss will be
disciplined.
pleased about that one. That's one of her favourites, so she'll be pleased about that.
Well, I'm not a Man U fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I always admired him massively. I think like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually Andre Galvao, who got his black belt from the same guy as me. I'm very honoured to get that from Terere, and I think MMA GSP, and all those guys are grafters. You know, really methodical. You know, have a lot of mental toughness. Have overcome, you know, all kinds of obstacles, but nothing stood in their way. They've real grafters. I admire that work ethic. I say, like, I get loads of pleasure watching these hugely talented and gifted athletes, but for me, I admire hard work and effort.
Definitely hard work and effort. That's cool, man. And that's already three decent things to think of in it. Is resilience, and hope that actually things can get better and you can get through whatever challenge you're facing, and then just pure hard work and graft and just getting on and getting it done. So
probably the hardest to maintain there. The hardest one to maintain is hope.
Yeah.
Because like we can, you know, as soon as our self-belief starts to wane, we can get a sense of hopelessness, and our options seem to be like become more and more limited without hope. But when you've got hope, you really feel like the world is your oyster and you can achieve anything. But you know, but that is the most fragile one. You know, you've got to truly believe that things will get better and you can overcome anything.
Beautifully put, mate. Thank you. That's awesome. So, Jim, one of the things that I always admire about you is that you've talked about people who work hard, but I look up to you as somebody who does work hard. I mean, you own all your gyms, your gym chain, the fighting, the format, but then also you train really, really hard. So, can you tell us, because those guys out there going, you know, a lot of students are looking at going, what's like a normal day when actually we leave school and we get on with all our stuff. So what's a normal day like for you in the gym and your normal working day? Because I know, because sometimes when you tell me what you've done that day, I'm sat there going, mate, that's a day, that's a day's graft. So you tell me from getting up to going home, what's your day like? Normal day.
Yes, it's different right now because we've got this COVID thing, but I'm still training very hard. But normally, like at times where we're competing, as soon as I do the school run, I'll go to the gym, sort of relax. I've been doing like lots of little different things, like I work on the balance ball and things like that, just to warm up and mobilize. I train technique from about 10:30 for about an hour and 45 minutes, and I just pick a couple of drills that I want to do, and I just repeat them over and over and over and over and over, to get that muscle memory in. And then I have a break. I've been training a lot of my S&C with Janine Murphy, who you also know. She's been really, really helpful. Yes, I've been working with her, and we do we're doing some Olympic lifting. Depending on how close to my tournament we are, well, that will depend whether or not I'm lifting heavy or just maintaining, because it's very difficult to, if I'm competing every weekend, it's very difficult to truly push yourself hard because you need your recovery time. Also, you've got to maintain weight, so like I can't you know, I've got to constantly watch what I eat, and that's going to affect my energy level. So you know, it's always it's a very tight balance. Then in the afternoon, Trevor comes in. Trevor Chamberlain, who you also know, and we train hard. We roll hard for a while, and then I teach. Sometimes I teach a kids class, and then we go off to one of my gyms, and I teach for the evening, and that will be a 90-minute class followed by rolling. And I do 2 10,000-meter rows a week. I've started swimming, which I hate, but I try to get sort of 50 levels in twice a week as well. So yeah, I mean, most of the swimming is really for mobilization of my shoulders and stuff, because as fighters we can kind of keep our shoulders and elbows in, and it can destroy mobility. But yeah, it's good exercise, good cardio. But that's kind of my normal training day, really, my normal working day.
And then on top of that,
I don't feel like I've done a day's work in my life. Do you know? It doesn't. When people say to me, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "Well, I don't really do anything," you know. And I would find it hard to call it work. I guess it is work and it is tough, but like I've never had a day, and I'm sure you'll back me up on this. I've never had a day that I've come into work since I was a full-time athlete and thought, I don't really fancy this. Every day, I'm super grateful for what I've got. I'm super grateful. So it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like a bit of a DOS, but I truly love it.
See, the thing is, bro, is that when you say that, is that the reality for me is I know you've got all of that going on. You're doing all that training and teaching classes, but you're also running the gyms, you're networking, you're doing your stuff. I mean, and you're grafting. It's just grafting, isn't it? That's perfect, mate. So
yeah, I'm on the committee for the UK BJJ, and that takes up a little bit of time. I've also got we started the national youth team, which is also great. I started teaching a lot of seminars this year, which is really good. I really enjoy doing that. And actually, I lost my love for teaching private classes for a while. I'm not sure why, but I'm gonna analyze why. But I think it's because I was giving too much time to people that probably weren't deserving of it. And I've started teaching a few private classes to people that really want it, and I'm actually really, really enjoying it. So so I've been doing that as well.
Perfect, mate.
I'll do that before the kids get up. So I'll go to the gym at 6 a.m, teach a couple of private classes, come back, have breakfast with the kids, take them to school.
That's perfect, isn't it? And that's a grafting day. That's a hard day, mate. That's a big day. And then, like I say, it's on top of that, you're running a gym, you're doing the business side of it, networking, all those other things you do. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Jim, so we're talking about all these things we do, and we've already talked a little bit about resilience, about hope, and just hard work. But in the gym, what other sort of things? Because like for us, there's all the stuff that we try to instill into our young people, and we're looking at, more values that we can try and instill into them. What are the sort of values that you try to let go through the gym, and just to instill in all the people that come into your gyms, you come into contact with? What are those big values that you have?
You know what? A lot of the values I hold dear as a martial artist are the same values that I or character traits that I look for in a person. And often people come in with these character traits, or sorry, without these character traits, and quite quickly they start to develop them, because I think martial arts generally is a very good environment to have good morals and good character traits. So hard work is obviously, it's a no-brainer. If you're not prepared to graft and put in the effort, you just won't achieve anything. Or what you will achieve is going to be very, very limited. I think honesty and integrity, and not just honesty with other people. You've got to be honest with yourself, because like you know yourself. If you put in the graft, if you put in the effort, you can blag almost everyone, but you can't blag yourself.
No.
So I like people to have that sort of honesty about themselves, and even when no one's looking, they're grafting, they're doing their work. And integrity, I think, like, all of those things help you become a good person, but they also help you become a great athlete and a good businessman as well. So yeah, I think that's it really. I think you've got to try to be a good person. You've got to try and do good by people, and that's what I try to instill in my students. And sometimes we get all kinds of guys that come through, and from all different aspects, all from all different walks of life, and after a few years together, they're all walking the same path with very similar character traits, and that's a really, really good thing, because I want to surround myself with good people, with honest, hardworking, and I've always done that. That, Carl. Like, in the early days of opening Phoenix, when we only had 10 members and 3 of them didn't fit, then next week we'd have 7 members because I wouldn't let them stay. I want to be around good people, and if people aren't prepared to have that level of humility and honesty, then they don't last. But people usually develop those character traits quite quickly around martial arts, because it's very humbling. If you don't come in with to a martial arts gym with humility, you're going to get force fed it. So you'll eat it and you'll do well. Resist it and you won't.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good one. Resist and you won't. That's cool. I like that a lot. So we got, obviously, you and I, we got to this point in our lives, right? And we're doing what we're doing. But there's a lot of kids that this is going to go out to, because it's all about their careers in their sport. And they're starting out and they're looking at, like going out into the world and moving forward. What bit of advice or word of wisdom can you give those kids now to go, this is how you're going to face life as you move forward? What's your best? If you've got really good bit of advice for them.
Well, what I would say is like nothing that is worthwhile is easy, and nothing that lasts happens quickly. You've got to put in the effort, and you've got to be prepared to take knockbacks. You know, you can't be oversensitive and quit at every hurdle. You've just got to persist, because believe me, I lost for a long time before I gained in all aspects. In terms of my matches and tournaments, my fights, and financially as a businessman, you know, you've got to learn to lose, and you got to learn to fail, because you know, without experiencing that and embracing that, if you win a lot and then suddenly you lose, it's very difficult to deal with. So, you know, losing is okay, failing is okay. You've just got to persevere. You got to keep the faith that you can, whatever field you're in, you've just got to truly believe that you can achieve it. And as I said, having that honesty with yourself. Like, some guys will come into the gym and they're going to say to me, look, I want to be a UFC champion. And I'm like, it's never going to happen for you, mate. But that doesn't mean you can't be a competitor. It doesn't mean you can't, you know, achieve an excellent level of fighting skills or martial arts or whatever it is. But I can be honest with people because I've been doing this a long time. But you've got to be honest with yourself. You know, you've got to truly believe that you can achieve what it is you're setting out to achieve, and don't let anyone distract you. It's so easy, and people are so quick to, you know, to pour water over your flames and to say it's not going to happen for you. Look, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? If you truly believe, honestly, if you truly believe that you can achieve what it is you want, you must not let anything stand in your way. And like, there have been times in my path where I've wanted to call it a day, and I've had people. I'm very fortunate. I've had positive people around me to sort of like talk me around, and I've had those moments of despair where I kind of lost a bit of faith, and I lost a bit of hope. And, you know, I was fortunate to have good people around me at the time that can help keep me on track and keep my goals on track. But you've got to truly believe. You've got to have hope, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to talk to people, you know, and don't listen to the knockers. You've just got to believe in yourself. Doesn't matter what other people believe. You're not living their dream. You're living yours. And if you truly believe it, you will achieve it. That rhymed. It wasn't meant to, but, you know,
but it works, doesn't it? I think that's a mantra you get to your head, mate. Do you know what is that?
I don't know, you're talking of mantras, Colin. You're like, there are times when I'm like, I'll give you an example. I was at the New York Open last year, and I had like so much self doubt, and I don't know why. Sometimes I have a bit of self doubt in the leading days to a big tournament, and that was one of the biggest I've done. And I had a lot of self doubt, and, you know, I have like these like little words that I have a few key words that I say to myself, and to help me relax, help me focus, and they help me remember what I've sacrificed to be where I am, what I've sacrificed to achieve. Because it's easy to forget. You know, it's easy to forget all of the times when all your mates are out partying and people are out buying this and buying that, and you're putting in the graft constantly to be where you are at that moment. And you have to be proud of what you have to be proud of what you've sacrificed to get there. And so I have these little mantras that I say to myself and to help me get relaxed. And I think that's a really positive thing. I think, you know, those kind of like coping techniques are underestimated. I found them very valuable. You know, just positive words and sentences to help me visualize, help me stay focused and calm, keep your heart rate down in times of pressure. I found them really useful, and they helped me a lot.
Perfect, mate. What was the one you used at the New York Open then?
Honestly,
yeah, go on.
It was the biggest tournament I've ever used, and I've ever been to. And on the day, I just kept repeating to myself, "I'm powerful. I'm powerful. I'm so powerful." And because I knew I was the strongest I've ever been, I was the fittest I'd ever been, and I just kept looking at all of my opponents in the bullpen. We have this area of the bullpen. Everyone in your division is in there, and there's like 30 guys, all with cauliflower ears and chewed up noses. And I was looking at them, but talking to myself. And I just kept reminding myself how hard I'd worked, that I'd given it everything, and there was no more that I could give. And if I fell short, I could be proud. If I fell short, it wasn't because I didn't try. I knew that I would, whatever happened, win or lose, I would come away from that tournament feeling proud of myself. And because I prepared properly for it, and I think that's the key. If you prepare properly, you're going to be confident. If you don't prepare properly, you're going to be the guy in the bullpen, looking at his feet, shuffling, whilst the other guys are bouncing up and down, beating their chests. So you got to, I prepared properly, so I just kept telling myself how powerful I was.
That's it,
I guess. An ego thing. It was just a word. It's just a word. It could be any word, but that was my word for the New York Open.
Well, that's it. Once you know that hard work's there, it's all in the bank, and that's what being a true champion is, and true competitor is. It's getting to your field of competition, knowing that all the practice, all the training is all there in the bank, and it's just ready for you to unleash there in the field, whatever that field of competition is, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. It's because obviously, I've enjoyed seeing you because I've not seen you for a while, and it's really good to see you. And it'll be good to sit down proper and have a proper brew where we can get back to reality. But for me, Jim, I think the message you've got to our learners today is a really inspirational one. It's a really great one. So many thanks for that. As always, we'll do like a virtual handshake. So there we go. Nice one. And for everybody else, just wait for next week, and we'll see who else we can get in to finish off. But for me, Jim, thank you very much, mate. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon. All right, take care, dude. Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.